Okay, we're trying this again. Live for the Drive, Season 1, Episode 3. Another vanity project by Ryan C. Benson. Let's be honest. Some people like to hear themselves talk. Some people like to hear other people talk. I think I'm the former. Sometimes I'm the latter. So, driving along PCH here. And yesterday, does anybody watch The Middle? I love the show The Middle. It is, it's on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock on ABC. 7 o'clock Mountain and Central Time. And it's one of the few shows that our whole family can enjoy. My kids love the show. We love the show, and it is so stinking funny. And in the show, the kids have gotten older, but they had this one scene in the show last night where the dad is talking, and he's just saying, I just wish I could be that dad with the kids in the back of the car, just listening, and I'm just driving, and they're not giving me any problems. And it was so overwhelming, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm at that point in my life that I can really enjoy my kids. And I said to Mariah, this may be the peak for Billy's cuteness. He may be at his cuteness peak right now. He's easy to talk to. He listens. He understands. And it is thrilling to be his dad right now. But, I mean, he obviously he can be a little punk, too, and bug his sisters. But for the most part, he's a pretty good kid. And so, watching that show, I was just like, weepy. It was very sad. And Mariah and I look at each other and try to hide from the kids our tears. But I'm happy to have a few people here. 5 viewers! Woohoo! Party! So, I know my connection is weak, but hopefully it'll get stronger. Like I said, the connection is weak, but the will is strong. The will is strong. So, on Saturday, we tried to go bowling, but the bowling alleys were packed. It was a rainy day, and the kids' softball and baseball games got rained out. So we tried to go bowling. And as we didn't, the bowling alleys were too full, so we just played a few arcade games and went home. So as we're leaving, though, this is a bowling alley in, I guess it's in Encino or Tarzana. It's called Corbin Bowl. We're leaving, and there's a homeless guy walking down the street, and this guy is in bad shape. It was very sad. And it's kind of raining outside. He does have a coat on and jacket and some really ripped up jeans. But his shoes that he had on were basically, he didn't have any soles on any tops of the shoes, just kind of soles. And I thought, if I was really nice, I would just give him my shoes. I had some older shoes on, some old Chuck Tees. And I said, what the hell? I'll just give him my shoes. And part of me is thinking, look how nice I am. I'm giving him my shoes. I took off my shoes. I hung them out the window of the car, and I said, sir, can I give you these? Can I give you these? And he just looks at me like, are you nuts? Why would I take your shoes? And then he said, no. And I'm like, really? You can have these shoes? And he's like, no, they won't let me do that. And so he was obviously he wasn't fully functional mentally. But he's like, no, they won't let me do that. And I was so proud of myself. Let's say, look at me. I'm giving away my own shoes. This homeless guy needs shoes. I am taking them off my feet. We were driving home anyway. They were old shoes. I didn't need them. And I was really more proud of myself for trying to do something nice than the actual act of doing something nice. But he wouldn't take them. And it made me think, how often do we try to do something for somebody else or force something on somebody else that they don't really need? I'm thinking, look at me, I'm so wonderful, giving this guy my shoes, but he doesn't want my shoes. He's happy without my shoes. He is getting along just fine without my shoes. So I need to remember that, don't give people something they don't need. Now, people, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, nobody needs to be watching me live right now, even though I've got 9 viewers. That might be a new record, 10 viewers. I'm not necessarily giving anybody anything they need, but you know what? I'm making myself happy. by going on live Facebook. Live for the drive at 5:30. So, another thing that interesting happened this week is I watched the Kobe Bryant's last game last night on TV. Yes, I was a cord cutter for about 7 years, but now we have cable TV. I know. I'm regressing. So I watched Kobe Bryant's last game, and it was so, he scored 60 points. Everyone was so thrilled with him. And, all his old teammates patting him on the back. People on Facebook like, oh, goodbye, Kobe. Thanks for all those years. And it's so how quickly we forget that Kobe Bryant was on trial for rape. He obviously was not a good guy. I don't know if he raped the girl or not, but he obviously was, cheating on his wife and hanging out with people he probably shouldn't have been hanging out with. But we just forget so quick how this guy was. He was never a good teammate. No other professional, high caliber basketball players would come and play with him here in LA. He couldn't, Dwayne Wade left. They couldn't get anyone else because nobody wanted to play with Kobe. So he basically, over the last 2 or 3 years, kind of ruined the franchise. He was one star player that was at the, downhill side of his career, and nobody would play with him. And so now here the Lakers are, starting from square one. So hopefully they can get somebody else, and it'll be fun. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, so many of you may have heard of my book / website / Twitter account / Instagram account that I've been talking about for years called Another Bogey, Finding Joy in a Mediocre Life. Now, if you don't know what a bogey is in golf is par in golf is when you hit what they call the ideal score. A par 4 would be 4 shots on that hole. Bogey is 1 over par, which is considered not so great. It's a bogey. You're not doing so great. But most people, if they're a bogey golfer, they're an okay golfer. That's like an 18 handicap. And I'm pretty much a bogey golfer. If I hit a bogey, it's okay. I'm happy with it. It's not a par, but it's not double par. It's not a double bogey. So I've often thought that I'm such a bogey golfer that I've wanted to write a book called Another Bogey, Finding Joy in a Mediocre Life. Now, many people would say, Ryan, you don't have a mediocre life. Well, the world might look at my life and say, there's an average, overweight, middle-aged white guy living in the suburbs. That is a mediocre life. But deep down inside, I know my life is great, or I feel like I have a great life. But I like to try to think about taking what the world would call a mediocre life and making it great. So I want to find joy in my mediocre life. Hence, Another Bogey, Finding Joy in a Mediocre Life. Now, that's what my Instagram account is called right now. And I need ideas on how to take this idea to the next level. Is it just doing Facebook Live? Is it getting more followers on Instagram? Is it actually trying to write a book, have a Twitter account, a Facebook account? And ultimately, how to make some money from this. The other idea is having a podcast, another bogey podcast where I interview people who would have, seemingly mediocre lives, but really how they're finding their way to happiness in their own path. Whether it's, a guy who goes surfing every morning and it just brings him so much joy, but then he goes to work as an accountant all day, or somebody who has those special hobbies and things they do that really bring him happiness. So if you're one of those people, oh my gosh, 14 viewers, I'm hitting a new record. I hope I don't go off the road. This Topanga Canyon is very, very curvy. But I hope all 14 of you are enjoying. I haven't been reading the post. Shelby says post pics of me. That's a good idea, Shelby. And that will just make people happy. Can you monetize this? Ashley, I wish I could monetize this. Everyone repost it for all your friends. It's public. I'll go on, 2-3 days a week, live at 5, live for the drive at 5:30. That's about what time I usually go home. Okay, I've been on 10 minutes now. I'm going to cut it off. So I hope you're all having a great day. Remember, don't give people something they don't need unless it makes you happy. Like me giving my Facebook Live. Not that anybody needs it, but it's making me happy. Okay, everyone, have a fantastic Thursday, and I'll see you next time.